right, everybody, and we will begin in three, two, and one, and we are live. Slide your slide your page slightly over to the right, or your camera slightly over to the left. All right, perfect, perfect. There you go. How's it going, everybody? Instead of saying good day, we're gonna say good evening to everyone. This is our first
Good evening.
evening stream.
Indeed.
Yes, yes, yes. Dan got a little ahead of me and started already, but we are going to try to. We've been
Typical.
it's the hashtag that we've been both wanting to try to participate in, but kind of haven't because of all the conventions and craziness of this month. Was Smogist. If you know Dan a little bit, you might understand why he's excited about doing something for Smogist.
Yeah.
Maybe
And
just a
also,
little bit.
just a little also, down that I haven't been able to even touch one yet. I have drawn dragons this month.
Oh yeah.
I don't think there's a month that goes by that I don't draw a dragon for something. I haven't, I've been too busy with this, that, and the other thing. I have some big announcement stuff that happens tomorrow, Saturday, right?
Yeah,
It
it's
happens
tomorrow, Saturday.
tomorrow. Yeah. I'm
Woo!
allowed to finally share some things
So,
tomorrow.
so if we stay up until midnight, you're saying that?
No. Oh gosh. Yeah. Just wait. Just wait. I have to wait for a very specific time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got authorization now, which is good. Uh, and then I've just been really busy. I mean, we've both been doing conventions for the last two weekends have
Yeah,
been
yeah,
conventions. This is the first weekend we've had off since the conventions.
yeah.
How
And,
did you do physic? Now, I'm not even talking about like money at the con or anything else, but how did you do physically?
I will say that after MegaCon, I got home and the next morning I woke up and I'm like, man, my muscles are kind of sore. I was like, what's going on? And then I
Yeah,
definitely needed after Planet. I just felt like I needed a day to just like recuperate a little bit. I don't know if it was mentally or I didn't get the full on like slightly sore muscles of MegaCon, but it was
yeah.
definitely a little like I needed some me time. Real quickly, Nader Tot says, "Whoa, what time is it?" It is
Yeah.
it's Paint Bro time. That's what time it is. Dwayne Farver fixes audio and he can finally hear us.
Hey, how's it going, mate?
And Cynthia's on. Hello, Cynthia. How about
Bonjour.
you? How are you
Or
you
bonsoir.
doing?
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Uh,
How are you doing after all the
I
conventions?
I honestly I felt a little broken after the second one. The first like MegaCon was kind of rough, but
Yeah.
like I actually felt pretty good after MegaCon, but after AwesomeCon, I'm gonna add one other thing to convention prep, which is cardio
Cardio.
workouts. Cardio workouts. I mean, you and I talked privately, but I was just like, dude, I got to do more cardio. This is like, I had to lug so much heavy. Like, I packed everything I had to the gills, to the point that I had like books. I ended up paying for like extra luggage just so I could bring more books, because the books that I mailed,
so
I
you
was
so
tracking them and they weren't going to arrive on time. They were going to arrive like 2 days after the convention's over. Um, they were tracking to be on time, and then like they hit some sort of like, weather or something, and everything just was like, your packages have been delayed. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This
wait.
can't happen.
So you checked in 3 bags?
I checked 3 bags, yeah, and
All
had to
right.
carry through the airport
All right.
all
Did,
bags
did you
and
ma-
all the carry-on stuff too. So
did you max out the third bag and weight?
every time. Oh yeah, you know me. I mean, come
Okay,
on.
okay,
So
okay. So
through the
just to give
airport,
every
I carried
yeah.
well
So
over 200 some odd pounds
there
of
you
luggage.
go.
Well
There's an
over.
there's the number I'm trying to get at because it's like
Yeah.
it's 50 pounds, and when we pack in our luggage per check-in, it's 50 pounds. right?
Yeah.
And so if Dan's paying for 3, that's 150 pounds. I've weighed my backpack and my carry-on before, and for mine, both of those together is about 60, 65 pounds because that's where I keep all my prints and all my art supplies and everything else like that. So Dan's lugging through the airport somewhere over 210 pounds
It
of
was
gear.
it was probably closer to like 240, 250, somewhere around that of luggage. And granted, most of it I can put on rollers for the most part, but there was like, the thing strapped to my arm. I remember taking off when I stayed with my parents over MegaCon or
Mm-hmm.
over Awesomecon.
Mm-hmm.
And when I stayed with them, I remember taking off the arm strap of my portfolio carrier,
Yeah.
and well, I put it on the ground, and then I like took off my shirt and looked at my shoulder, and there was an indentation, and it was like bruised all around the indentation on my shoulder. And it's still there. Like right
Yeah.
now, I still have like a mark that hasn't quite gone away yet.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
So
it
yeah.
was pretty devastating.
So Planet Comiccon is one of the few conventions that I actually will drive to. So I had 2 tables, so I packed extra because I stop in St. Louis for a day to visit my brother and everything else like that, and then I head over to Kansas City. So I packed extra, and
Yeah.
then one of the garage that I parked in to unload is across the street from the convention center, but it's underground. And the day I parked in, or the area that I parked in, for whatever reason, the elevator was not working.
Of
So
course
I
not.
parked underground. So I'm lugging. I think it was a little bit less than you, but it was up there. It was probably about like, because I didn't like. I'm not going to go back and forth with all this twice,
Yeah.
and so I was like, so I was probably around 180, 190 pounds going up like the parking lot ramps and trying to get back to street level, and I'm just like, God bless it.
Yeah, there were a couple of curse words. When I unloaded everything, it was raining, like pouring down rain, like
Yeah.
not normal pouring down rain either. Like oh, this is so bad. like like it's not letting up. At first, I was like, maybe I'll just wait and it'll let up. Nah, it was
Oh,
perpetual. It was like a perpetual downpour. Yeah. And like
yes.
there was this one point where I was on a corner trying to cross the street, and this couple had an umbrella, and I was like, I didn't have an umbrella because where the heck, what hand am I going to use to hold the umbrella?
Oh yeah.
What am I going to do? Tie it to my arm or something?
Yeah.
And this couple is sitting there, and the woman looks over and goes, we should let him under the umbrella. And the guy took one look at all my luggage, and he was just like, no way, there's way too much stuff over there. Yeah, it was a bad scene. um I got in okay. All the art, seemed to be unscathed for the most part.
Yeah.
So how'd you do at the convention?
I did well. Both conventions, I think I did well. Nader Tot wants to know when you will be joining the strongman competition, though.
uh yeah, I'm gonna wait it out. uh Now, don't get me wrong. The one comment that I got from every single person at the
Yeah.
show was, "Have you put on some muscle mass?" Like, literally everybody commented on it, and I mean, it's cool, but I,
Yeah.
I just think it's lifting a small human and playing with 2 giant dogs. That's all I can point to. It's definitely not lifting weights, that's for sure. Um, so yeah, this was my. Let's see if I think I have a booth pick. Here we go. Booth pick. All right. So that's me.
hmm
That was one of my booth visitors. He was nice enough to take a photo, so I actually have a photo.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
um,
I'm like looking right now. I'm like, I took a lot of photos, but we'll see.
yeah, but no, it was intense. We'll put it that way.
I have a lot
The
of photos.
other comment I got was, dude, your hair. Like, so I had my hair down the entire time, and it was like a massive, like all the humidity and everything. And I live in Florida, but we don't have the humidity like there was there. It was
Mm,
epic. And like my hair was just, I looked like a troll doll. It was ridiculous.
let's see if I could do this. Here's that's my booth. And I had Deadpool and a
Oh
unicorn
yeah.
going by.
Nice. Nice.
But yeah, no. Normally I don't have two tables, so I was like, it was almost a little bit too much room for me.
Yeah.
But it was very nice because I had space. I could actually work,
Yeah.
and paint on the table instead of like in a little tiny little corner. I actually like set up on the corner so I can paint. No, like that's usually a really tough thing when you're at a show and you're cramped, especially if you don't have a lot of space behind the
Yeah.
table, like because you're trying to paint at the table. Like so at MegaCon you had a 10-foot table,
Yeah.
which was really
Oh, this was
nice.
so like, and
And so,
what you really don't realize is how deep it is. The
right.
table is like really, really deep. This thing was not that deep. The one that I had must have been like an 8 foot table, I think is what it was, which is
Oh,
fine.
okay.
But what it didn't have is the depth. It was like missing a foot.
Oh,
So
really?
everything that you think you have in terms of like, being able to work on something, and like put it in your lap, or it gets to rest on the table. Yeah, yeah, the table isn't only for your wares and the things that you're selling. Like you really didn't have any room to actually physically work on it. I ended up working standing up 90% of the time.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of the uh more taxing things. Like this year so far, what I've noticed is that standing on concrete. Usually, I'm
Oh,
okay with it, right? Because you're standing on concrete for 3 or 4 3 or 4 days. Um, like I noticeably felt it. Like I wanted to get a foot massage
yeah.
after Planet Comiccon. That was one of the things. I was like, oh no, I have to drive home. And
Yeah.
like,
I can relate.
yeah, it's these little
I
things that
wanted
no one
all the
don't really.
massages.
Yes,
Like, let
you
alone a
especially.
foot. There were a few massage types of massages I really wanted. But yeah, it was brutal. But it was a good show. It was
Yeah.
like, let's see. Oh, Ron is on here, and hey, Ron, how's it going? I saw Ron.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, who else did I see at the show? I saw a lot of
Hey,
people. Everybody
we,
came
we
by and said hi.
we have Gary on. Hey all. Hey Gary, how's it going? Um,
But yeah, it was a good show. Of the convention, so in terms of things that so this is convention, what is this episode? Convention post game.
you can mention post game.
So what was your like takeaway from MegaCon in terms of like, let's start off with safety. Let's go there first. Like in the era of
Mm-hmm.
COVID, what
Right.
how did you feel like MegaCon rated in terms of like the safety?
At first, I felt pretty cool with it.
Yeah.
But as the convention kept going, kept continuing, like it started getting more and more crowded. Like
Yeah.
I was surprised. I was surprised at how much more crowded it got.
Yeah.
And the more and more kids that I saw as well, which gave me a little
See, you
trepidation.
and that was like, not so you saw kids. I saw almost no kids. Like there were some here and
Mm-hmm.
there, but I mean it was nothing compared to like, like let's take Sunday for instance. Sunday is supposed to
Right.
be kids day for conventions.
Right.
And man, there were no kids. I even talked to the guy who was heading up the um Pat, who
Mm-hmm.
was heading up the kids cosplay contest.
Oh yeah.
and he was saying that they did have kids, but most of them aren't actually going into the con itself. Like they were staying outside of the con,
Oh
like
really?
inside of it. Well, they were doing all the like room stuff and the things that weren't in the main hall. Like they weren't doing the exhibit hall really, where the majority of people were. I was like, oh, that's I guess that's a safer bet. Um,
Mm.
but no, I didn't see kids the way you did.
Yeah.
And you were in a different area than me too.
I,
That
I,
was
I,
the
I was. Yeah. You were. Um.
we're
I was
usually
in the middle. I was
yeah
smack dab in the middle of the artist
we're
alley.
usually set up right next to each other, and
Yeah.
we even have like booth displays that kind of take advantage of that. And
Yeah.
we were not anywhere near each other this time.
Yeah. That probably won't happen until C2E2 or Emerald City, where we'll be right next to each other again.
Yeah, but it was. I mean, I had a
How'd
good
you feel
show.
about it? How'd you feel about it?
MegaCon, I actually like of the two conventions so far. MegaCon was definitely the safer in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it was by, I would say it wouldn't be like by a huge margin, but it was enough
Mhm.
that it was noticeable for me. Like they had announcements every hour, um,
Yes. Yes,
like
they did.
telling people that you needed to wear your mask, that if you had any problems with your mask, or if you were having any problems at all, just let one of the people know, and they would either give you a new mask,
Right.
give you a better mask. If you had any anxiety, they would give you a pro mask.
Mhm.
Like yeah, they were kind of awesome, and they had like a roving mask Gestapo, um, and it was cool. I felt safer there from a COVID standpoint than I did
Yeah.
at AwesomeCon. AwesomeCon, don't get me wrong, it's a city that everybody has basically been on mask mandate from day
Hmm.
one.
Hmm.
I don't think it ever really let up in DC.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know, I don't know. There were a lot of people that were at that yeah, you could tell they were not regular mask wearers.
Oh,
They weren't
really?
wearing their mask any way that they should have
Oh, wow.
been. Yeah.
Like Planet Comic Con.
And there were
Planet
no
Con.
announcements either
Yeah.
when it came to that. Nope.
Yeah. There are no announcements at Planet Comic Con either. Pretty much everyone wore their masks. I saw a lot less
Over
people trying to get
on
around it, like under the
yeah.
nose or whatever. I saw a lot
Yeah.
less people that were um,
You
uh,
didn't see a lot of that?
trying no like trying to get around it. You know how sometimes like cosplayers will have like makeup over their mouth or something and they won't have it on. Um,
Yeah. I
uh,
didn't really see any of that. I saw
yeah,
what was the stuff that I saw that at Awesome that I was like, huh. Um You know what it is? They didn't have any announcements. They did say, from what I understand, you had to have a proof of vaccination and or negative COVID test to enter.
hmm
At least that was what I understood. But no one ever checked me. I mean,
yeah,
I've had a vaccination and all that
yeah.
other stuff. But I mean, and I had my card handy, but no one looked at my card at any time. So
hmm
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At and at Kansas City, it was, and it's been a while since I've been back there, but I definitely felt at times that it was less crowded. Like the population that was out
Yeah.
was lower. I still did it a little bit better than I did 2 years ago,
Yeah.
um, but there's
I should
definitely
also,
like more open space.
yeah. Well, see that, so that's one of the things that they did really well. And I should also couch that I did not feel unsafe at either of them. Both of
Yeah,
them felt very safe. I don't know
yeah,
if you saw the photo earlier, but everyone was wearing masks.
hmm
Um, I I just thought that MegaCon was like hypersensitive about it, and they were definitely doing a
yeah,
really good job of making sure everybody was always mindful that they needed to be, on point, trying to make sure that conventions keep getting to go on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. And I also think like MegaCon knew that they were going to be
under
like under the
under
microscope,
scrutiny. Yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
know. And to answer
No,
Ronald
but
Shepard real quick, yes, both Dan and I will be at Dragon Con.
yep. What's his face? Or what's her face? Constance Eza, who's the head of the Artist Alley over at
Hmm.
MegaCon.
Hmm.
I should also note that she's a working doctor.
Yeah.
So she was really like kind of on point when it came to making sure that everybody, like I watched her chase somebody down that wasn't wearing their mask right. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, I thought she was going
Yeah.
to tackle this guy. And then she like looked over at me, and she was like, "Not on my watch." And I was like, "Okay,
Okay.
yeah." I was like, "My mask is tight, right?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
How busy was it around your table? Did you still get like those like flows of
I
like
was
craziness?
totally swamped. I was
Yeah.
totally swamped. Are you talking about which one, like MegaCon?
But yeah, more awesome con because I wasn't there.
Right. Yeah. I was like, Awesomecon had waves
Yeah.
that came. The weird part about Awesomecon is I had like massive, uh, like my print sales, and this happened at both conventions actually. Tons of print sales on Sunday. Like
Hmm.
Sunday seemed to be the overwhelming day that everyone wanted to actually make purchases that they'd been lining up or
Hmm.
eyeing for the
Hmm.
entire weekend. So it was. I think I'm learning my lesson to basically finish all commissions in every possible way
Yeah.
Saturday night, making sure that everything is done Saturday night. Do not even try and
Yeah.
have commissions on Sunday that you need to deal with because it's just not going to happen. Um,
The fact that I actually was on par with for my commissions on Saturday night, I was able to do three small ones at my table on Sunday. I took three small ones that day, which normally we never do.
yeah,
Like, it's just too busy
I
to
would,
do it.
I would
Um,
have never been able to even touch
yeah.
those.
What
That,
what
that,
yeah.
yeah,
What one was by another vendor. They came by. I was like,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
was
fun.
like, yeah, that's fine. Like you're a vendor, you'll be here.
Yeah.
And then another guy was gonna stay to the end, but
What was
it,
your what was your favorite thing you did over the break over that weekend?
my favorite thing was walking into an Airbnb that belonged on MTV Cribs.
Okay, that was pretty funny. I meant actually, what was your favorite thing that you painted? Because we're
Oh,
on Paint Bros, but if you
Paint
want to talk
Bros. That
about art
one.
style, that's cool too.
um. Oh, what did I totally forgot that by now. Uh, I did a nice green goblin.
Oh, that's
That
cool.
was fun. He wanted a
That's
classic,
different,
yeah, classic old school, like classic old school green goblin.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I,
different.
I I did have a really one. This is one of the things I totally miss about conventions is just the reaction, like the raw reaction to your art.
Yeah,
It's one thing to like,
yeah,
oh hey, I got like 600, 700, 1,000 likes on this post, or your post gets tons of
yeah.
likes. You feel good about that, but there's nothing like someone when they first flip over or
First,
open
yeah,
up that their commission,
yeah.
and you know that you hit something, you hit a chord with
You
them,
nailed it.
you
Yeah.
nailed it, like whatever it was, and
No, you're right. You're right.
yeah,
That was, yeah.
I had
The thing I missed most, I think, was definitely people. And it was
yeah.
like unexpectedly, I really missed people. Um,
I did, yeah. I didn't know how much I missed. I was like, oh, I'm doing okay. I don't have to have, I do art
yeah,
because I love it, not for the fame, um,
liar.
liar. Shh, shh.
Tony, why'd you get into art?
The
For the
women,
girls. Do it for
all
the
the
ladies.
women. Um, but Yeah,
as our female viewership drops off.
what are you talking about? They're here for me. Um,
Both of them.
touche. Um,
But
was
yeah,
it? Yeah. There was
no, I
a
mean
yeah.
that's a good one. I'm trying to think of what my favorite piece I did over the. I think I did some stuff from Mistborn. I had this one guy
Mhm.
come up to me and he asked for something from Brandon Sanderson's
Oh,
Mistborn
nice.
series. And
Oh,
I was like,
that's
oh,
different.
nice. And then I thought he was gonna do something very particular, and he chose like one of the characters that for me is not like the hero.
Uh
Um, and I was kind of taken aback at first. I was like, oh, like I was
huh.
expecting one of the other characters, and it totally threw me a curveball. But I was like, I love that series. I love all the characters in it. So that was a fun one. And then on top of that, he ended up getting one of my sketchbooks too. And he
Oh,
was like, "Do
nice.
you have time to do like a Steel Inquisitor?" I was like, "Yes, that's what I wanted to do."
Yeah.
But it was a quick sketch, so it wasn't anything, so that was fun. Um, I had somebody buy piece that I finished off at that con as a warming up. I was trying to
hmm
remember our warm up that
hmm
we started, so I polished that off at the convention, and then that one sold
Oh,
pretty
nice.
much 20 minutes after I finished it. Uh,
That's always a good feeling too, where you do something like
yeah, like
custom
well,
or on your own, and
I find that if they see you working on it a lot of times, like it kind of it's like, okay, now I want it. I
always
didn't
be
want it,
working.
but now I'm
Always be
watching you
working.
working on it, and I want
Yeah.
it.
Um,
Mm.
yeah. One of the reactions that I got was from it was he wanted a blank cover from the Berserker title
Oh yeah,
with
yeah,
the
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 Keanu
Keanu
Reeves.
Reeves,
Yeah,
and and basically he was kind of awestruck at first, and we've spoken in the past about the quality of the blank covers, and we I try to make it
how
good as best we
how
can, right?
how sucktastic they are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And sometimes that frustration I know is internal to the artist because the other people like enjoy what we put out there when it comes to these blank covers. They like it. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep asking. And he was speechless, legit speechless for a little bit, and
and
he
you're like,
ended.
did I f up?
Did,
Like,
yeah, did I have up? Like what? It was like it's
like,
like oh my god. Like did I do the wrong character? Like what? Does not look like
did I?
Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, it's like, oh man, I just rolled a one.
Yeah. And then then he went on to told me about his Michael Turner original art that he has. One piece of original art by Michael Turner that he has
Right.
over his office desk.
For
And
those
he
that don't know, the now deceased
yeah,
Michael
the now
Turner.
deceased Michael Turner, whose his art is just awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, this cover that you just did is going to replace that. Michael Turner's going to go out in the hallway. I was like,
It's
what?
like I feel slightly like I'm not sure how to take that.
Okay, don't tell Michael Turner that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of those moments that are like, oh, I'm glad I'm an artist. I'm glad I'm back at artist back at conventions. Really is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had this since returning. I've been kind of inundated with work follow up stuff and
Yeah.
finishing all that. While I'm sitting here, my phone's blowing up about other things that I owe people. I'm like, really? Come on. Ugh. Yeah, that's the juggle with conventions. It's like conventions, commissions, and then you have project work, and it's like
Yeah.
trying to manage all of them and make sure that everybody's got what they want
Yeah.
and need. Uh,
I feel like starting. I feel like I have to approach this weekend as
yeah,
if it were a convention weekend and just like, okay, I'm painting and drawing and finishing as many commissions and deadlines for projects and other stuff as like, you know, 18 hours a day just thinking about art.
Yeah. I'm officially this weekend not doing almost any art.
Yeah.
I have
Oh, you
many
hit.
people,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, yep, I'm gonna manage expectations and just explain I need a break. Um, you gotta take a little bit of time for yourself, otherwise you will totally burn out.
You do.
And I'm getting
Absolutely.
close to a burnout. I can tell. Do you want to even see an inkling of the stuff that I haven't even shown people yet? Um,
Of course.
like that's the funny part. So my son's birthday party is coming up. So yesterday I painted the Trinity, all of them.
Hmm.
Um, so here's a Wonder Woman print that the kids will get.
Oh.
Let's see here. Where's the Superman? Oh wait, hold on. So yeah, there's the Wonder Woman. Soups.
Oh, they look so happy.
Of course, they're for 5-year-olds and soup. Come on. And Batman. Even
Oh.
Batman has a grin.
Right, right. Even
Uh,
Batman's on like it's like a happy day for Batman.
yeah, Happy Days Batman. But it's like,
The sun is shining in
we're
Gotham.
he's doing a superhero birthday party, so of course I'm like frantically painting all the superheroes on top of all the other stuff I gotta do. So it's like, yeah, getting a little burned out. Um, but you got to do the dad stuff too, you know.
Dr. Billiam has a question for us.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's asking us what's the most time you've put into a single piece?
the most time. Ooh, that's a really good
Yeah.
question.
I was about to say something
Um,
like,
so I did a piece once. All right, so wow, my brother's not on here, is he? There is a piece that I am still working on for my brother, and have been for a better part of like a couple, basically almost a year. Um, and it's a portrait of his extended family on his wife's side. And it's been, that one's definitely taking the cake as far as like
Oh
the
wow.
most amount of time I've ever spent on a piece.
A- a-
It's
for-
also the most like probably one of the more stressful pieces I've ever done, just because you want to make sure all the likenesses are especially right.
Mhm.
Um, I, as a general rule for portraiture, from what I understand, this is something that other, like, I don't do
Yeah.
portraits as often as I used to,
Yeah.
but from what I understand, one of the general rules is to never paint people you know. Like,
Yes.
you always hire another portrait artist to do
Hmm.
that, but you shouldn't do it yourself. Mostly because you put your own juju into it, that, and you see things in people that aren't really there, and you try
Right.
and put them into the image. Um, it's harder to distance yourself from it. It's kind of like the house mentality.
Hmm.
Um, the doctor. Uh,
Right. Don't operate on your own family member.
exactly. It's like, I know you, so I'm gonna recuse myself, type thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyhow, that one's probably my biggest. The second one from that would probably be a dragon piece that I did years and years ago. That was probably my most popular print
Yeah.
ever, and it was
Hmm.
for the Temeraire series, and it was the all of the dragons with all the riders, and it was ridiculous.
Wow.
Like, it was way more time on a piece than I should have ever spent.
How many hours do you think is on that portrait piece?
The portrait piece, I don't even want to think about it, honestly. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Um, I would guesstimate that it's probably. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's really hard to quantify even.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, for me, few.
Was it one of those Nen pieces?
No, no, actually, it was
The
it
Link?
was, it was the Link. It was a Zelda
Yeah.
and Link piece that I did.
Yeah.
It was early on in my sort of watercoloring um experience. It was probably like 2 or 3 years into painting with watercolor, and I'm still very proud of it. So if you look up, let's say if you just Google Tony Moy Legend of yeah, so you just Google Tony Moy and Legend of Zelda, you'll see the piece I'm talking about. Um, but it was about 2 or 3 years into me picking up watercolor. It was the largest piece I had done until that point, and the guy had not only donated and literally donated a lot of money to my Twitch stream, but also
Mm.
had gotten other pieces, and he was putting down some good money at the time. Um, the good money anytime, but good money at this commission. So I just really wanted to hit it out of the park, and he said, like, take as long as you want. Like, I have no deadline. I'm not going to bug you about it. So I recorded most of it,
Yeah.
and I have about like 50, 60 hours of video
Wow.
that I ended up just not using and putting together
Yeah.
because it was just too much video. But I was
Yeah.
really slow and meticulous, and there's a lot of lifting
Yeah.
in that, and just like very methodical watercolor piece that I had done. So that's probably my
So going back to the topic on
yes,
hand,
yes, 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 yes.
what is your hmm, what what's the best way to put this? What is your biggest takeaway that you wish you had I guess the thing that you wish you had rehearsed or figured out ahead of time for
Mhm.
conventions that you kind of like recognized as you were actually at a convention, like, oh man,
Yeah,
I need to do X, Y, and Z a little bit better, or oh, I need to um,
yeah,
what oh, I should have signed all these prints ahead of time. Oh, I should have, there's like a
yeah,
thousand things
yeah.
that always come up.
There are two things I'm still struggling with, um, and so okay. Let me start off with in MegaCon. It
Yeah.
was the first convention where I was actually going to try to talk about my my 442nd webcomic, right?
Yeah.
Uh, the 442nd Japanese American World War II webcomic, and in my head, I've run through it a bunch of times, typing out, synopsises and things that I think I have it in my head. But throughout all of MegaCon, I know I still, it didn't roll off my tongue very well.
Yeah.
Nor did I quite figure out how to approach people or engage people with it, with the
Okay.
story. But in Kansas City, I think I've got it to a place where I can, I got my one sentence.
Your elevator pitch
Yeah,
down.
my short elevator pitch to and see if they're interested, and if they're not interested, I leave them alone. I don't try to push it, right? And you
Yeah.
give them a little bit more information. What's that second level of information? Like, do you want to hear more?
Yeah.
And then finally, like, okay, do you want to have a conversation about this because you're actually full on interested?
Yeah.
Um, uh, I feel like near the end of uh, the weekend, I had it going, and I had printed out a little backdrop that sits on my tables that I can point to and reference
Yeah.
while I'm speaking, and that always helps. You know,
Visual cues.
yeah, some of the visual cues. and I think in Dragon Con I should be able to like that'll be the test, right? Like uh Dragon Con gets pretty busy, and can I just rattle it off and just keep going with it
Yeah.
from like over and over and over. And the funny part is that I it's always amusing is that whatever spiel Dan and I have when it comes to things like this, when Dan was doing Tuskers and was promoting it at his
Oh,
table,
we
um,
all
we,
remember
we memorize it.
yeah.
So I'm sick because I convention after convention I get it like 30
Yeah.
times a day. I hear
Yeah.
the spiel.
We basically are yeah. We become each other's parrots. It's weird.
Yeah. So when Dan's not at his table and he goes to the bathroom or goes to get some food or whatever, and someone comes around, I'm like, oh hey, I can tell you about that.
Yeah, let me tell you his elevator pitch. This is how it goes. Yeah.
So yeah, so like the elevator pitch on new books, new projects, like the first convention, the first time you do it, I don't think you're gonna really.
No, it'll always be rough. The
You know,
first
it'll
time.
always be so
Yeah.
awkward. like, how about you with Tuskers, right? Like,
Oh my
or any
gosh,
of
I was like a mess. I was like, and even this time, like this is the technically I guess this is the so we did a Kickstarter for Tuskers.
yeah,
So on one hand, we kind of had, our elevator pitch was pretty much
yeah,
down. Because we did it over and over when we were
yeah.
kind of drumming up
Filming,
support for the
right,
book.
right,
Yeah.
right.
But the negative for, the convention and whatnot was we'd never had to try and sell a book to people.
Right.
It was always online, which is
Right.
a little different.
It
You
is.
don't
It is
have
completely
you don't
different.
have like, the audience is just not, it's they are a physical person in front of you that you now have to respond to, and their actions and what they're liking and what they're not liking, and oh, are they walking away? Are they not into it now? Like, what did you
Right,
say
right.
that turned them off? And
Yeah.
it's one of those, like, I've recognized that Tuskers in particular is a tougher sell for some people because
Hmm.
it's a hard book. Like, it's not a book that's designed
Oh,
for,
yeah.
the I'm gonna make you feel good about everything at the end of the story. It's like, no, it's designed not for that. It's
Yeah. No,
it's real.
mine as well. I had to like,
Yeah.
hey, do you want to
Elephants
hear
are
about people?
literally getting massacred. Yeah.
Do you want to hear about World War II?
Yeah. Said no one ever. Yeah. Like,
Let me tell you about
can I
World War
interest you
II.
in something your dad would like?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. In talking with people, like someone's like, "Oh, I heard that so many times over the meeting." Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, my dad's totally into stuff like this. I heard this from my dad." I'm like,
Exactly. And they're just like, oh, great. Yeah.
uh,
So yeah, there's that whole push and pull about, you know.
yeah, and if you're going to be doing conventions, or you're thinking about um, putting your stuff there, you gotta practice beforehand, but also know that when you're on the spot, you're going to be figuring a lot of it out. Because you'll see what people are interested in and what they're not interested in. Cynthia says, "I have the dragon piece."
I'm sorry.
Cynthia Lynn says, "I have that dragon piece."
Oh, this one that I'm. Wait, what?
I don't know. She says, "I have that dragon piece." It was probably from a little while ago. I'm not sure which dragon piece.
I don't know either.
Forgot to ask you fixed that Psylocke piece. It's in progress again. Somehow, if I landed this job, I will finally definitely get commissions from both of you. Matt Holloway says, "Hi guys." Hi Matt.
Hey.
And Garnet
Morning.
White, the Temeraire one.
Oh, the Temeraire one. Yeah, the big giant one. That's right.
If anything,
Yeah,
that
the
might
one I
be
was
better.
talking about.
Yeah.
The beast.
If anything, that might be better having your buddy elevating you. Hype squad.
Right?
It is. It's really good.
No,
Well,
I mean, we help each other out at tables. I mean, it's
so many
impossible
times.
not
Yeah.
to. Like, I mean, there are times when, at some point you're going to have to walk away. You need a break.
Yeah.
Like, that just will happen. So it's good to have like somebody on hand, or somebody. just to watch your table. Usually it's the guy next to you. There's like an unwritten rule that
Yeah.
somebody says, "Hey, can you watch my table?" Then
Yeah.
you kind of have to do it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
But it's also good to know in case like, you know, you trust someone with your money if someone's gonna be coming and picking it up. You're like, oh hey,
yeah,
the guy dropped up this and paid this money. You know,
right.
that's always so
Some
useful.
conventions actually have like they actually have helpers that will do that.
Hmm.
They'll actually watch your table. I think that they typically have rules that they're not allowed to take any money. So
Yeah.
I think it just, it's like, hey, I'll watch your dead table.
Hmm.
Um, which, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It
they
is
can't.
effective, but
Yeah. But and they can't answer anything other than when you'll come back.
yeah.
You know, they can't talk about your book or whatever else. So.
So
Um,
having somebody that knows the ins and outs of whatever your project is or something like that
yeah.
is always helpful. Yeah. Other things that I learned about at this con that I feel like I needed to do better, labeling your stuff. Make sure, and I feel like we both did this on the
Hmm.
first one, like making sure that all of your stuff has like appropriate labels on it.
Hmm.
You don't want to have like pricing and stuff like that not on your
Right.
things because inevitably someone's going to ask you a question, or what's worse is whenever you are talking to a group of people and you have like 5 or 6 people in front of you and you can't really direct your attention all the time at one person.
Hmm.
Um, so one person's going to get, kind of effed off if they're not, the center of attention.
Right.
But if they can turn over a print or turn over a piece and be like, oh, that's how much it cost, or see it immediately, they don't really have to ask you that question.
Right.
So
What?
it's good to have that stuff written on the piece or
Mhm.
behind it or something like that.
Yeah, because that's a really good point because sometimes and even like little signs and instructions that will say like open me or
Yeah.
like it's a display copy because sometimes people won't do it and you'll want them to. So having those signs when your table does get busy helps you out because you could just kind of reference that and let people engage on their own volition.
Yep.
Um, because that was the other thing that uh, I had to get back in the habit of in MegaCon. It was rather quick, but I did notice it was that you have to tell people what to do. Hey, look
Yeah.
at that. Take a look at those prints. You know,
Yeah. You have to prod them. A lot of
yeah,
times people are hesitant about touching
yeah,
anything on the table.
yeah, yeah. I
And
have an art book for sale, or I have commissions, or I do this.
yeah,
Even though there's a sign that you think is
clearly
super
visible
clearly
and
visible and it's at eye
yeah.
level and everything else, like
Nope. Nope. No
right,
one will
like
see it. Yep. Totally
the
invisible.
the the obliviousness of people coming by your table because there is so much to see. I think
Oh,
is
it's
in
sensory overload.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
think it's
you can't even
encapsulated.
fault them for it. Yeah. It's just impossible to take everything in.
Yeah,
Like you're
like
you're overwhelmed, and I mean even like kids, I feel so horrible for little kids that are at cons. Like almost always they're usually kind of like, either head or face buried in their parent, or because they're
hmm,
just they're overwhelmed.
hmm,
Um I mean, I learned my lesson when we brought Fenn to a convention once, and
yeah,
when he was early on, when he was way too young for it,
yeah,
and he was, he was okay for about 2 seconds, and
yep,
then it was just like, okay, this is too much. Like I'm not ready for all this. This is overwhelming.
yeah.
Adults are the same way. It's just they internalize it. Um, you know.
Dan could be sitting there painting an amazing piece of art, and what's your favorite question that you always get while you're sitting there at the table painting?
Oh, my favorite one is, "Are you the artist?" Yeah.
Right.
It
So
is. I
that's
mean,
that's how oblivious
inevitably,
people are, right? Like
inevitably,
they
that
just
will be the most common question that,
yeah,
as an artist, that I get, and it's not even just me; it's every
yeah,
artist. It's kind of funny. Um, I mean, not to get too into it, but there's a private group that I'm part of that's
yeah.
all comic artists and comic illustrators, and we've all been back and forth talking about the top 10 questions that we get at
Yeah.
conventions, and that is always number one.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you're doing, are
Right.
you the artist?
And you have to have like you have these little speeches
Yeah,
that if you're either caught off guard or there's a lot of people at your table that you just like revert to and go to just to like engage them or to speak with them and
yeah.
whatever. And it sounds like it's repetitious, but you are the only one that ever hears it over and over, or the guy next to you.
Or
that
the, or
hears
the poor guy. Yeah, sorry, the poor
it.
person next to you.
But the people coming by haven't, and
Yeah,
so it's
all
new to
new to
them.
them.
So you have to
Yeah.
kind of keep saying it, no matter how often you try to be unique and different. So
Yeah,
you
the
know,
the thing that we've come to realize is that you basically have to always go over your like pricing. You always have to go over what is where, and just have
yeah,
what are my rule of thumb is, what are the three things that I sell? I sell books, I sell
yeah,
prints, I
right,
sell originals,
yeah,
and then occasionally I'll do commissions.
yeah,
So commissions, I put my thumb back and say, look at the big thing. It's a giant banner that has all of my pricing.
right.
Everything that they need to know is at eye level. Um, if you want originals, they're in this book and this book. If you
Hmm.
want prints, they're in that book and that
Hmm.
book.
Hmm.
Uh, and then if you want books, they're over there.
Right, right,
And
exactly.
it's
Yeah,
like all the pricing is listed.
right.
And then if there's like a really long pause with no conversation, you usually ask questions about, I always, try and chat them up. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey, where are you
What,
from?
yeah, where are you from? What's the coolest
All
thing
right,
you've seen here? What, blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
yeah. I mean, my favorites are like, what's the best place to eat? I always like to know stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um, we Other things that I guess that I learned at this con that I mean, aside from the cardio thing, which is really important, let me tell you. You understand? Like I died a little bit. Um, Aside from that, other things that are really important are um, so I networked a little bit on Saturday night. I
yeah,
did some networking stuff, and I usually don't do that anymore. I used to do it pretty heavily,
right.
um, and by networking I mean drinking, uh, but not really. But no, it's inevitable that you're gonna go to a convention, and it's almost
Yeah.
always like the convention bar that you end up. It's like BarCon. It's like an entirely another part of the convention, but specifically for industry people, or
Hmm.
at least that's what it's geared for.
Hmm.
Um, this one was more like a dinner thing that you and I have done a couple
Yeah.
times, and it's usually put on by press people primarily.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Yeah, 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 yeah. I know.
yeah,
Yeah.
and this was a really good one. But like almost three or four of the people that I ended up chatting with came back to the table and bought stuff the next day. I mean,
Yeah.
but beyond the monetary thing, they were actually like really cool to talk to, and it was actually one of the more enjoyable ones. I don't think
Oh,
I've
nice.
had a really good one like that in a while. Usually they're you know it's like you're schmoozing, and it's the same conversations.
Hmm.
Hey, what are you working on? Oh, I'm working on
Yeah, yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
This one was way more engaging. It was more, like where you're at in your in life. How did you handle the pandemics? People were asking questions that, sure, we've heard them, but I don't know. It was
Mhm.
just in a better. I haven't talked to people face to face in a while, so
I know, right? I did a short one with a few artists as well, and it was the same. Um, it was like, oh, like I get to talk and interact on some things that aren't,
yeah.
a rote conversation. So,
What was
um,
your favorite part of Kansas City aside from your hotel?
I I mean, it's this is only the second time I've been in Kansas City, and
Yeah.
unlike some of the other shows where we've been there 3 or 4 times, and a lot, and it was very interesting to have people come back again and say hi and like, oh, I remember you, and I was looking for you, and I was hoping you'd be here, or whatever else. And so like to reestablish some of that stuff, like that felt good. Um, uh, I did not get a chance to go out and get some barbecue. I
Oh,
wanted to, and I totally like it was just too hectic and busy.
yeah,
And the one night I was planning on doing it, like I got invited out to a little dinner, and I was like, okay, whatever you guys want, and it wasn't
right.
barbecue. um,
Hey, Katie, how are you?
yeah. Katie Greenberg once made Dan a
Actually,
badge that said, "Yes, I am the artist."
I actually still bring that badge to conventions
I've
to
seen
this
it.
day.
I've seen it.
Yep. No, it's one of my favorite things. In fact, I might need to get you to make me an upgraded badge. I don't think you do. I don't think you do those anymore, but I feel like wrong making it
Yeah.
myself. And
Katie
I feel
Cronenberg
like
is she's another amazing artist.
very good at dragons too.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I feel a little daunted now painting my little alligator dragon.
oh, yeah. That's not bad, man. I like it. I like the snout. It's a good shape.
Yeah. I was like, what should I take inspiration from for this dragon?
See, I thought we were doing smog in
Well,
particular, so
well,
I was like,
I'm going to put like glowing gold underneath it, which is why he has like the yellow
there you
glow
go.
from the bottom.
A little underglow. I
Yeah,
dig
it's
it. I dig it.
little underglow and sort of homage to smog, but not really a smog.
Smog, the great and powerful.
Yeah, this is kind of like a chubby dragon right here.
Yeah. Do you have
Oh,
any awkward people stop by?
um, I so I had a guy, and I didn't. So I have a tablet that I have at my table that has my comic on it that they can read. That I haven't released it yet, so it's like a sneak peek, right? There's still
Yeah.
some updates I want to do to it, and usually people are coming by. They'll scroll with their finger a little bit,
Yeah.
and for about 5 seconds, 10 seconds mostly. But this guy wanted to like hear my spiel, and then he just
Yeah.
sat there and he read the whole thing. Right?
Whoa.
I was like while listening to my spiel and everything, and then I just paused and he just sat there and just read it. I was like, okay, like that's kind of what I wanted.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like, I kind of asked for that.
right. But he was actually really engaged with it and made me feel good that
Yeah.
he kind of couldn't put it down. Um, and then he came back later, and then someone else was asking about my comic, and then he just kind of started pitching, and he became my little he became my
Nice.
front man. And I was like, you know what, go, like you're doing a good job with this. And he started telling a few people, and he was very nice about it. He wasn't like super awkward, but it was a little, one of those things you don't really expect all the time. But obviously, whatever I said in my art and the comic kind of resonated with him because he started bringing people to my table.
I love it. Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, hey, if you want to hear about my comic, let me know and I'll tell you about it." And he's like, "Oh no, he already told us all last night." And like he brought his friends over and everything. So I was like, "Okay,
Nice.
you know, uh, it's unexpected, not something that normally happens, and totally appreciate it and made me feel really good."
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I think the I only had one awkward moment. I think it
Yeah,
was with
a barnacle,
uh no we well
a
okay,
barnacle
two
sighting.
awkward moments. It's kind of funny because somebody who was it? Oh, guess who I sat next to?
Oh, who?
Brian.
Brian?
Yeah.
Brian who? Oh,
Uh Brian Nins.
oh,
Friend.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that Brian. Oh, wow, small
Yeah.
world.
Exactly, exactly. I was like, "Oh, this. I don't know how he put you here, but that's awesome.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
literally like the best that it could possibly be if it wasn't Tony." It's like,
yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of amazing. Woodsworth. Yeah, he and by the way, he's amazing. Like his stuff has gotten like 10 times even better than it already was,
Oh,
which
really?
is saying something. Yeah, stuff is
I,
unbelievable.
I know he like puts in a lot of time and effort into every one of his pieces, right?
Oh
Like
my
something
gosh.
like and thought, right?
Yeah.
Because you and I are
He's
like, okay, we're gonna do a dragon, tell a quick story, do a superhero, whatever. Batman in the rain, blah blah blah. But
yeah.
there's like meaning and thoughts and consideration and so much effort into a piece. I'm like, you're like a real artist.
Yeah. No, it's so true. He was so he's sitting next to me and his this guy comes up and he's talking to me for about I don't know. I want to say it must have been over 30 minutes. It
Mhm.
might have been closer to like 40 minutes. And let me tell you, that's a long time.
Yeah, yeah,
Um it's definitely in the realm of what we term a barnacle.
yeah.
And I looked over at him and he goes, and he mentioned the word barnacle. I was like, "Oh, did Tony and I tell you about that?" He's like, "Yeah, you guys told me about that term." It's like it's so fitting too. Uh, so
uh,
barnacles are things you can't quite get off your boat.
yeah.
Uh,
They,
they're very difficult,
yeah. They stick to your boat, and you have a hard time getting rid of them. And they're always there.
and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes
Right.
it's great, but other times you're like swamped and trying to get stuff done for people, and there are other people constantly coming up that are getting ignored because you're,
Yeah.
barnacling.
Yeah. I mean, the super challenging thing that Dan and I undertake at conventions is the crazy multitasking, right? Like, not
It is nuts.
everyone does
Yeah.
commissions at the table and try to sell prints. We're doing it on our own first off, solo. Um, but we're also painting. We're trying to paint and finish commissions. We're trying to engage people. We're trying to sell something that is new. We don't have a print wall behind us per se. And so there's a lot of engagement, and we're trying to also have actual conversations most of the time. And so those are some challenges that
We don't
that
always make
they
them.
don't always win, but like I
Yeah.
have to we have to like get back into it. Like it took me a while.
Yeah.
Um, like Sunday, I was on my game. I was
Did,
hitting those
did
last
you?
three commissions. I was
Yeah.
talking to people. I was making sales. I was stamping and signing, and I don't know where it went. I don't know where the
Yeah.
energy came from, but it was like, we're gonna do this.
I was doing better on Sunday too. Did
Yeah,
you did you have any take homes? Were the things you didn't finish?
I had one take home
Yeah.
because the guy came and he was like, I want something. He wanted a blank cover.
Yeah.
But he's like, I'm leaving in 2 hours, and I know you. I don't want you to try to finish it in 2 hours. So,
Oh,
if you
that's
can
good.
ship it to me, uh,
See, I love when people are just like
yeah,
super like, yeah, I don't want you to kill yourself.
yeah, I don't want to use it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's cool. And it's a
Yeah.
he wants me to recreate that vintage Mary Jane and Spider Man panel
Oh,
where it's
nice.
what is it like? Face it, Tiger, you hit the jackpot. Is that what it
Yeah,
is?
another one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one. Yeah. So I have to recreate that. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do that. That's fun. And
Tony's
it,
like, you
yeah,
son of a bitch. I'm in.
yeah. And he got like John Romita Senior to do it, and
Oh
like
wow.
he
I
showed me
think
the
I
picture
know.
of everything. Yeah, he like all of the
Yeah.
same one. I was like, damn.
I feel like I know this person. Um,
He's from Florida. He was going back. He was flying
yeah.
back to Florida.
Yeah. I feel like I know this person.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of people that like at MegaCon that were like, I was like, I was like, are you going to Awesomecon? They're like, nah, I'm gonna do Planet Comiccon in
Oh,
Kansas. I was
really?
like, really? Yeah. I was like, that's kind of a hike, isn't it, for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
if I spend more than 15 minutes at someone's table, I try to buy. So I'm trying to buy something, or at least get out of the way so other people can shop.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that that's even anything that's terrible. Like, I mean, we joke about calling them barnacles. The only reason
Yeah.
that it gets, and the reason we coined that phrase at one point had to do with this one person in front of, I think it was Sarah Richards.
Yeah,
Um,
I think you're right.
and I mean, she needed a rescue. Like,
Yeah.
there are points where, you know, like she was starting to feel a little overwhelmed. Like the person was just not taking the hint that she needed some space, and that's when it gets a little like, it's like, okay, you don't get out enough. You clearly
Hmm.
aren't taking social cues. The person saying that they you know okay, well, I got to get back. You're doing all the telltale signs that, okay, I need a break.
Hmm.
um I need to get back to what I'm doing. And it's when people aren't feeling that yeah. Anywho.
Yeah. That's also one of those, this could be a completely separate conversation, but
No, I
also,
know. Yeah.
as guys, it's kind of like amusing kind of a thing, whereas, we're also super hyper aware of, the women that are also at these shows. We hear some of these horror stories sometimes.
We've yeah,
Yeah.
Tony and I have both
Yeah.
made rescues,
Yeah.
and also been, right of, we, for anybody, if you ever need like safe space or anything like that,
Yeah.
like
Hop back
feel
behind our table.
free to hop back behind our table. We both have spare
Yeah.
seats, and you're welcome
Yeah.
to chill out there, grab
Yeah.
water, relax, and get away from the crazy.
Yeah.
Whether it's a person or you're just overwhelmed. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's hard to find like safe space or spaces that you don't feel
Hmm.
like you have to, you know, yeah.
You have
Anyhow,
to you have to interact. You want to get away from interaction, right? Like that's
exactly.
that's basically what it is.
Yep.
It comes down to it. So,
And we've yeah, I definitely know what it's like.
yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
how much? Where we do not? I'm yawning. What the? Oh,
we
I
we
can't believe
we
I
are
just yawned.
we are just
We are at
about at
one
around
hour
70
and
minutes. Hour
okay.
10. So
All
we're
right.
in
All
the
right.
last third or so. How are you doing with your dragon? I haven't even looked. Oh, damn.
I'm pretty far along. I think I got like a
You-
couple more. I
Dan,
mean, I could
Dan,
I
you
could
just
massage this to
yeah.
death.
You just drop your brush on a piece of paper and then like a dragon comes out. Is that how it works for you?
Yeah, I do not think so.
No, it
That's not
doesn't
quite
work
as
like that.
serious.
Oh,
No,
hey, sometimes it seems like that.
I wish that was the case.
One of my first memories of you
Hmm.
is at C2E2 when we were sitting next to each other when I'm a snotty mess.
Oh,
Um,
that one.
yeah, and this kid comes up to you with a sketchbook, and it was one of those things where legit it was like, oh, can you draw something quick in my sketchbook,
Oh yeah, yeah.
sort of a thing, and you spit out this negative space paint dragon with your paint. Like you just start like painting it, and all of a sudden, like oh, what the hell are you doing? Because I'm sneaking a little peek off the side of my eye, and all of a sudden it becomes like this. You painted the negative space, and all of a sudden there's like this dragon head that's created, and I'm just like, God damn him. So my first one of my earliest memories of you is you like literally just like splattering a brush and going, oh, there's a dragon in here somewhere.
Somewhere,
Somewhere.
somewhere. And now look at you. You're doing a dragon.
Yeah, now I'm
Actually,
doing
that's really good. I'm digging what you're doing with
it.
the underbelly,
Thank you. Thank you.
like that what is it, dorsal line? It's
Yeah.
really cool. Is it yeah, definitely. I'm getting a alligator vibe.
Yeah.
And
I was just like, I notice it from you sometimes. Like you'll pick an animal, and you'd be
Oh
like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that's my inspiration for this dragon, right? Is
No, it's the way to go. Yeah.
yeah, like a dog or a giraffe. um,
Oh my gosh, that's my next one. Giraffe. What is that? It's a giraffe
giraffe
dragon.
dragon.
A dragon. That's not been done before, I'm pretty sure.
I'm just gonna look it up real quickly
I
because that
feel like
just.
it's gonna be one of those like just because you can doesn't mean you should things.
Oh,
Uh,
there is, but nothing.
I'm sure.
Nothing.
Yeah,
It
everything's been done. What am I
just looks
talking
like a
about?
giraffe.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Looks like
Scaled
a giraffe.
giraffe.
Yeah, it looks like a giraffe with wings.
Oh, psh, which is ridiculous.
What do you guys
Any?
think? How are you guys doing out there? Any questions or anything? Like,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
how
say.
how
Anything?
is this late evening hour? Is
Yeah,
this better for
this
you
was an
guys?
experimental thing for us.
Yeah. Oh no, I for sure have had barnacles at my table. Once a parent just left their child like we were babysitters.
Oh
Oh
no,
boy,
that's the
that's
second worst
horrible.
thing ever. Yeah. Oh, that's brutal. It's like, wait a second, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
I
Wait.
don't have children. Wait, what?
That's not good.
What's that?
When they leave their kids at your table.
Yeah, I've had all sorts of weird stuff. Like I'm trying to think of like the. I only had one or two like interactions at Awesome, and it's funny. I don't think I ever had like a uncomfortable moment
Hmm.
at MegaCon. It was only at Awesomecon that I had an uncomfortable one where it
Hmm.
was just like an awkward silence after something that clearly it was like okay, I'm waiting for you to do your thing,
Hmm.
and then there was just like it was like is he palsied? What just happened? Like
Oh,
why why did everything stop?
oh no.
Yeah, I feel like people are also still like after COVID, everybody's kind of like getting back into the swing of oh right,
Hmm.
communicating with humans. Uh,
Yeah, that
because like
is
you have like there's like a cadence to language, and like when you're talking to people you have to recognize it's like okay, you can always tell when someone's doing that. I'm gonna hurry up, or I'm gonna listen to you, but only because I'm waiting for my turn to talk,
right.
which makes everything really kind of like tense and awkward.
Hmm.
Or is it one of those things where it's like okay, I'm actually intent and listening to what you're saying and understanding and
Right.
wanting to respond to whatever you're saying, which is a totally different vibe. It's when they're like not really paying attention to you, could care less, and
Hmm.
that I had a couple of moments with that, where it was like okay, they're not listening to me.
Right.
What I just said just went right out the window. Like I could tell that they could care less what I just said. Um,
Yeah, you got to be really good at reading people sometimes. Like sometimes the right move is to let people give them space and be like,
yeah,
okay, they just want to look at stuff. I'm just going to let them look, and on their own terms, they'll come back and like, okay, I want to buy this. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, great. I didn't have to like help you out. And there are other
yeah,
people that might have just walked away if you didn't engage with them, and then they sit
yeah,
and then they look, and then they buy something or get a commission or whatever else. Like sometimes that surprises me too. I'm like, oh, I'm pretty sure you're about to walk away, and then all of a sudden we chatted a little
yeah.
bit, and now you're getting a commission. All right.
I had a lot of people come back. This was definitely one of the ones where there were multiple people come back after. Like I had people buy multiple things
Mm-hmm.
at different times. Like they would drag their family members back and things like that, which was
Oh
great.
yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
I've had other times where people would just like, um, I don't know. This was a really good con. Both cons were great. I didn't have. I
Yeah,
mean, you know how it is. You and I
yeah,
haven't really had a bad con in a long time.
yeah.
Um, I
My,
mean,
my,
I've had
my,
less less than awesome cons. Haha, see what I did there? Uh, but I haven't
No,
really had like a
I
bad one in a while.
I could tell you my bad con.
Oh,
It was 2019. It was shoot. It's the one in Utah. Um
wait, they have a convention in
yeah,
Utah?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Huh?
It's what's the main city in Utah? Shoot, I can't remember. But anyway, because of Mormonism in Utah, they don't
Yeah.
have conventions on Sunday. So it was a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday show.
What?
And who who comes to it's one thing to have a show on Friday and like okay, people take half a day. So yeah, Salt Lake City Comic Con. Um,
Okay.
it's one thing on like a Friday for people to like, oh, I'm gonna leave work an hour or two early and go to the convention for the evening part of it, right?
Yeah.
But on Thursday, no one does that. No one's gonna take off work, and so the only people there on Thursday are mostly kids
Uh
looking for
huh.
something to do, and
Right.
they don't have, they might buy a print
Discretionary
or
money.
two, but they don't have
Yeah.
the discretionary money to
Yeah.
to look at art or commissions the way the way you and I are trying to sell.
Yeah.
It wasn't until Saturday morning that I got my first serious commission, and
Huh.
I was just like, fine, give it to me. I will finish it all. I will do everything. And again, it was just like I need to make this convention not suck, and I barely pulled it out. But that convention is one where I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can come back to this show.
Yeah.
It was that bad.
Huh.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know if I would even do that. I
yeah,
mean, I don't know. Salt Lake City does is not on my radar really.
yeah.
I don't think
Well,
my audience is there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I've learned mine is not there either.
Yeah. What is last 10 minutes? Anybody have any questions or
How
anything?
many commissions do you guys normally do at a convention? What is the most commissions you think you've taken on in a
I
3 or 4 day convention?
I know exactly how many.
Yeah,
23 was my max.
yeah.
And that was at Heroes Con. No, 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 no. I'm totally wrong. Totally wrong. It was 32. I inverted the numbers.
Oh yeah. Whoa.
32 was my max, and that was at Heroes Con one year. And it was, I broke myself.
Yeah.
It was the most money I've ever made at a convention, but it was
Uh huh.
also a learning experience. It was one of those, I've found my limits. They are probably like 20 steps ahead of where I was.
Uh huh.
And that's where my limits are. But
Yeah.
I decided to go like 20 steps further like an idiot. Um, and I will never do that again. Uh, I now max out usually around like 10 or 12. Um, and that's at a 4 day show usually.
Hmm.
Um, I can technically do more. I could probably do like 20.
Right.
Um, but just because you
I've hit the
can
upper
doesn't mean
teens
you
a couple
should.
times. Right. I've hit the
Yeah.
upper teens a couple times. I think I
Yeah.
broke 20. I think it was in New York. Not the most recent one, but like a few years ago.
Yeah.
Before we synced our prices, I think my price skewed a little bit lower,
Yeah.
and I was just doing pure quantity. People would get like small ones, and they would get like 3 or 4 of them at a time or something like that. And
Yeah.
so yeah, like I've broken 20 at New York. Um,
I've learned
so
not to not quantity is not as important anymore to me
yeah,
as quality.
most of the time now, like I get a good chunk of like bigger convention commissions, and then I just kind of say, yeah, I'm kind of booked up,
Yeah.
right? You get like 4 or 5 big ones at the show on Friday, and you're like, okay, well this will keep me busy for the rest of the show.
Yeah, for me, I'm trying to do medium-sized stuff
Yeah,
is the largest I'm gonna get. I try
yeah.
not to do anything big at shows anymore.
Hmm.
I used to do like 12 by 16s like a crazy person,
Yeah.
um, but I've kind of learned my lesson about those. Um, the thing is, you do one, and then like
Everyone wants
you
one.
know everyone wants one of those, and it's like, oh, I can only
Yeah.
do 3 or 4 of those.
I
Um, and then
I've
it's
seen.
like you don't satisfy as many people, and
Yeah.
that's kind of why I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, I've seen Dan do like 18 by 24s and 24 by
That only
36s.
I only did that once. I only did
Yeah.
that one time, and it was a
And,
necessity. Yeah,
yeah, I was like, all right, you're
yeah.
doing this.
Never again.
Dan's the only one I know that would take on something like that at a show.
Yeah, only once.
Hmm.
Uh, I stupidly um, left the commission that was a pre-commission for somebody back at uh, back at my house, and it was like it was one of those things where I had double checked and triple checked and quadruple checked, and sure enough I left it at the house. Um, and I just felt horrible because they were only coming to pick it up, and I was like, all right, you know what, I'll just stay up all night and just power through this from beginning to end. And it was a huge piece. um, so
Totally different sort of commissions, but I am always amazed, says Cynthia, at Katie Cook's $10 mini painting. She does them while you stand there, and they take less than 1 minute each.
yep, yep, she's unbelievable.
Yeah.
She's a monster. What's even crazier is if you ever go to a Star Wars, whatever the Star Wars, what celebration?
Hmm.
Katie Cook does like a print thing that she's authorized to sell at those, and she does like a run of 100, and each one is like $500 a pop.
What?
Um, and she just signs them, and they sell out within like I forget how quick they sell out. It's like within
What?
an hour.
What?
Every single print is gone. Yep.
How do I get on this
You have to
gig?
use some official Star Wars stuff
Yeah, I
now. It's
know.
really, really, really hard, actually.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
once you do some, you actually have you have to do a certain number too.
Hmm.
But then you can officially be put on the list of being able to sell at Celebration, which is a very tough thing to get into. Um, but yeah,
Well, maybe one day one of us will get there.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All
Anybody
right.
have any other burning questions? See what I did there?
Yeah. 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 We gotta have to go in and erase some of my pencil lines in here.
I'm like just throwing paint on now.
Yeah.
I'm at that stage.
What is life? Life is art. There.
What is your next aside from Dragon Con, do you have what is your next one?
Oh yeah. I will be gallivanting literally around the U.S. I will be
What?
in Atlanta in Dragon Con. Um, which, and then the following weekend I will be in Portland, and then the following weekend after that, I will be in Dallas. So Dallas will be my first time doing the Dallas Fan Expo. Portland, I've
Gotcha that
Portland,
one.
I've Portland, I've done a couple times, and every year I've done better and better and better.
Yeah.
The first year was kind of mediocre, but that one is one of the shows where I feel like I've I actually was able to grow my following there, and like the
Yeah.
people come back year after year, and like, okay, well, you came back, and now you get another commission, and you buy another piece. So, um, yeah, that show I feel kind of helped validate my business acumen or sales process or however you want to, you know.
Yeah.
So
I think I
and,
feel that way about Dragon Con. Dragon Con's been a building one for me. Like
yeah,
my first year I did it, I tabled next to Mark Brooks and I did okay, but I didn't do
yeah,
like gangbusters or anything.
yeah.
And then every year thereafter has been like a little better, a little better, a little better,
Hmm.
and now it's easily one of my favorites.
That one just kind of started off as a great one for me because that first year they messed up my table
Oh
and
right, I forgot
they
about that.
forgot
Yeah,
to give me a table and then they put me next to George Perez.
yeah, that's a tough act to follow.
Yeah, but George would just be there for like 4 hours and
Yeah,
then disappear and he would just be like, yeah, you can use my table or whatever and spread out or stuff like that. And
I remember. Yeah,
yeah,
you had one of the sweetest, most choice locations
yeah, because
of
it was
Linville.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was just straight up. You walk in, and straight at the end of the little hallway when you walk in is George Perez, and so you have no choice. And I was right next to him. Um, and I also at that show saw a few other artists that we knew that had horrible table positions, and that's why at Dragon Con I was like, it's probably worth it for me for the next few years. I decided to get a booth. That's why I still have a booth doing it because I was like, wow, position really makes a difference here. But now they've gotten their tables better, like their organization better. So
yeah,
there are less bad positions at that show.
yeah.
So, so I might go back to a regular table at some point.
Yeah, I feel like everything's kind of equal at this point there.
Yeah, but that first year, it's like
No, you're right. You're right. I remember. Oh yeah,
you had a kind of
I
crappy.
upgraded to where you were.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was like, "There's a room next to me. Just come take it." And
yeah.
then there are other artists that we knew that were just like in the
I think I
corner.
stole the table, didn't I?
Yeah, I think you did. We just like just take it.
Well, yeah. I
A-
became a table squatter. Yeah,
Yeah, just do it and ask permission later if they do
yeah.
anything. So
Beg forgiveness, not permission.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, there's a few shows where sometimes the table layout will be suspect.
All right, I've got.
All right,
I
how you
think
doing?
I'm. I think I'm smogged.
You think you're smogged?
What do you think?
I like it. Yours
Still
is
got
cool.
some. I still got some tweaks to do on him, but yeah.
Yeah, I have to
I mean,
add
what was
add
this?
some
An
values to
hour,
my yeah
hour and a half. So
yeah
yeah,
hour and a half of chatting, talking, and not really
and painting dragons.
painting
I'd
dragons.
say it's a. I'd say it's a good evening.
This is
Yeah.
a successful night.
Yep.
So on that note, everyone, we may actually try because we're rooming together again in
We're gonna do it this time.
yeah, we're gonna do it this time. So we're gonna try to do a remote stream from Dragon Con. It's a 4 day show. We should be able to pace ourselves. We got a nice little place hooked up, and so we'll be ready. So
Yeah,
stay tuned for
it's
next week
it's fun.
as we stream from Atlanta Dragon Con. We'll let you know exactly when, but most likely it'll be another evening stream.
Oh yeah. I'll try and stay awake. I promise. I'll drink
Yeah,
lots of coffee.
yeah. So if you're not already and you want to follow Dan Govar, you catch him over at Instagram.com/Daniel Govar.
And Tony Moy over at Instagram.com/Tony Moy Art.
There you go. And then we'll see you. Thank you for joining us, Gary, Cynthia, Katie, Matt, Ronald, Nader Tot, Dr. Billiam. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight on this lovely Friday evening. We know you could have been out at the bars, having a great time, but you chose to spend it here with us. So
I need a drink.
All right. So on that note, take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
See you.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.